alternative.
But flat date, raw date is the best. I lost a lot of pounds just having date and seeds at the beginning of my changing lifestyle. Can you hit the light? Thank you. Can you explain this one?
Okay. Back in the 1970s, there was a research study that took 1.1 million children in the New York public school system, and they wanted to find out what would happen to them if they changed their nutrition. And they went based on their CAT test scores. And so this is what happened. So from 1976 to 77, their scores were at 41%. Then for the next 3 school years, they didn't make any changes in the kids' diets. Okay? Then from 1979 to 80, what they did is they removed all the sugar out of their diets. And look at what happened to their scores. The year after that, they didn't just remove sugary foods, they removed foods that contain sugar in them. And look at what happened to their scores.
Actually, what happened between here and here, they said it could be the accident. So they just removed the sugar, they had exact same result.
They didn't make any changes from
This to this.
From
And
here
then
to
they
here.
changed, they took out the preservative and look at what happened.
There's clear indication that there's very clear correlation between sugar and, maybe attention span and brain activity. Okay.
Okay, guys, if you remember one thing about this seminar, again, I'm saying it, but most people, be like a buffet. Take something with you today. It's going to be a lot of information. We invite you to come back. It's a 3-hour seminar. We throw everything. This is really 12-hour information we condense it in a few hours. This study is the landmark in an alternative community. They try to suppress this study, but they can't. This guy, Dr. Campbell, goes to China and start to study places that they have longevity and there is no cancer, no diabetes, no nothing. They find out the places down here that they don't have breast cancer, all that stuff, they hardly eat any animal fat. Guess what they find out here? Denmark, Switzerland, United States, New Zealand, they have a lot of animal fat. They wrote a whole book about it. I invite you to buy it. I think it's $20. $18 is something plus tax. The Whole Food just gave it to us. If you buy it, you buy it. If not, we give it back. You always can go to Whole Food and buy it. It is remarkable. Everywhere that you find out there is a high animal fat is consumed, all type of diseases are there. They done it over and over again, and the study shows wherever there is animal fat consumption, there is cancer, arthritis, all the garbage we talked about. And this is that you can go ahead and Google it, or you go China study. It is a huge advance, because before that they said you're hallucinating. Meat is not that bad. After this meat, they go country to country to country, and they put them again. It's beyond any doubt that the evidence shows that wherever there is animal fat, there is all those garbage. Now, after you live here and you put meat in your body, don't kid yourself. You're not putting in your body nutrients. You're just satisfying your craving. Because now you know. You know what's the difference between stupidity and ignorance? Ignorance, some people don't know. It's not bad thing. You are ignorant. You don't know. Stupidity is like me when I was behaving like Earth is flat. I knew. But guess what? Did nothing. That's stupidity. You see what I'm saying? Casomorphin. This is a substance you find in the milk and dairy product. This is morphine molecule, this is casomorphin molecule. They are incredibly similar. That's why they actually call it casomorphin. You can Google this on encyclopedia. And you will see the reason most of us are addicted to milk and dairy is because of this molecule here. God put that in the molecule that when the fetus wants to eat, they get addicted fast to the mother's milk, so they don't put other stuff in their body that are not ready for it. But guess what? The cow milk has this too, and we get addicted to that. They put people on plant-based diet for 14 weeks. At the end of the week, they ask them, what did you miss the most? Nobody said juicy steak or chicken or fish. Everybody says, I miss cheese. Okay? Tryptophan. How many of you guys think the best protein comes from meat? I hope nobody. Guess what? The
That's what we all thought at one point in time.
worst protein comes from meat. Matter of fact, because the only way you eat meat is by cooking it, except turkey. There are some different high tryptophan in it. We have to cook it in order to eat it. By cooking it, we destroy most of the amino acids that are in protein, namely tryptophan. One of the reasons the depression in the society is so high, this amino acid tryptophan is missing from our diet. What is this? It's precursor for serotonin. Every time you get emotional, happy, static, body produces that. Every time you are satisfied from food, body produces that. Guess what happens when you don't produce that? You keep eating, you go into depression and all that stuff. Guess what you need to produce this? You need this. Guess what happened? You destroy it by cooking. Now some of you say, you know what, there's a tryptophan in turkey. I can eat turkey and there's a lot of tryptophan. Yes, the part that makes you sleepy is still there, but the actual amino acid is being destroyed. Okay? So the meat is mostly fat, and the protein that is in it, you kill it, is the worst source of protein. Yes, you get some, but not the best of protein. Mostly you get fat. Okay, this is another study that changed alternative community. This study also has been suppressed and they try to disprove it, but guess what? Every time they do it, they find out that this study is valid. Guess what Dr. Kurchkov found in 1930s? How long time ago? 90, 70, 80 years ago. He found that people change after they eat. And he wanted to check their blood, what happened right after eating. He grabbed the blood sample. And he found out that after they eat, what happens is their blood is different. What blood? Can you hit the light? I want to show you this. You remember white blood cell in the body? They found out every time he grabs the blood of a person they just ate, the white blood cells start to increase. Why am I doing that? Because I want your visual people to remember that. When you cook food, he finds out there is a phenomenon called digestive leukocytosis. He finds out that doesn't happen to the people who eat raw.
Meat, fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and raw. They think that they didn't need to be cooking. What happens, our body starts to produce this white blood cell because he treats as cooked food as a foreign substance. And he dedicates all these white blood cells that they're supposed to fight your infection. Remember we said one of the ways you could lower your immunity is because you give away your white blood cell to fight stuff they don't need to fight. Right now in the city of LA, we are underprotected for a couple of fires that happens everywhere. They dedicate 200 firefighters here, 200. There was all over news last week because they said we are underprotected. We don't have enough firefighters. Why? Because the few firefighters we have, they go all of a sudden this warehouse or that warehouse. So if anything else happens, you're on your own. They want to lay off 80 police officers. Guess what? Same thing's gonna happen. Whenever you eat the cooked food, this is what's going to happen to you. Your white blood cell starting to work. They treat them as a foreign object. Okay? Remember that.
So I wanted to read you a letter written by the authors of this book. It's called Raw Food, Real World. To dairy, okay? We're backtracking a little bit here. And this is what they have to say. It says, Dear Dairy, what you have suspected so long is true. We have given you the brush off. It's not that we don't love you, but we know what you do to us. You line our intestines with mucus, making it difficult for us to digest, assimilate, and eliminate our